Good afternoon and welcome to Nutmeg Sports here on the HAN Network. I'm Frank Granito. I'm joined today with Kevin Coleman in studio as we take you around the CIAC semifinals, which will get underway tonight. Kevin, thanks for coming back. How you doing today?
Good. How are you? How was your weekend?
It was a little tough with the Michigan loss, but we talked about that.
I know.
But again, we were together Friday night at Tiger Hollow. We haven't heard your thoughts yet about that game. A big win for the Ridgefield Tigers. What were your first takeaways from that one?
The Ridgefield defense really surprised me. They played outstanding, and I think it was the Cardinals, they had missed opportunities. I thought there were a couple of chances where they got some turnovers on the Ridgefield Tigers offense, and they had chances to score, they couldn't, and it was that Ridgefield defense that stepped up to win that game. Again, outstanding performance by the Ridgefield Tigers. Greenwich
not mathematically out of it yet. We talked a little about that yesterday along with the other FCX teams that are still in the hunt, but Kevin, it all comes down to New Canaan and Darien again. We'll be there on Thanksgiving. We'll have plenty of coverage, but your first thoughts now as we get set for that dream matchup we were hoping for.
I'm really excited to see Drew Pine, the freshman quarterback from New Canaan. It's going to be interesting to see how he does under this big amount of pressure. We saw him against Greenwich under the lights at Dunning. He looked phenomenal. Now he's going to be back at Dunning, but this time it's Thanksgiving Day. It's going to be a raucous crowd. It's going to be a wild time. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited to see how he plays in that New Canaan defense, and of course, how good is Darien? I mean, they're equally just as good. It's going to be fun to watch these two defenses go at it and these two offenses go at it.
That 21 game win streak on the line, and of course, Dave Stewart tweeted out a fact for us last night. If you take out games between New Canaan and Darien, the two teams are a combined 84-1 since 2013. But let's shift away from football. We'll switch to the football with a U. As we head to the pitch, we've got the semifinals coming up for the CIAC, and there is an FCX team still in play. That's the Danbury Hatters. They beat Trumbull in a rematch of the FCX semis to advance to the semifinal game where they will meet the Shelton Gales. And for more on Shelton, we bring in our HAN correspondent, Mike Suppy. Mike, how are you doing this afternoon?
How's it going, fellas? I'm doing good.
It's good. Thanks for taking time coming on with us. Mike, a lot of ourselves included, we have not seen much of Shelton this year. They come in as a 7 seed. What can you tell us about this Gales soccer team?
Well, they're a team that can win both kinds of games. They can win a high-scoring matchup. They can win a tight game like they did against the other Class LL semifinalist, Fairfield Prep, who is on the other side of the bracket. They won that game 1-0. But they're an explosive team. They have a lot of talented players, led by Mikey Sciortino, who is he was the SCC tournament MVP last year. He's among the area leaders in goals scored. He scored 2 goals to break Greenwich's heart and end that undefeated season. And from all reports in the game, Greenwich seemed to be in control, and they bled some goals late, and that cost them. And that's something that Shelton can take advantage of. They're a team that never says die, and they fight to the final whistle. And that's just the mentality that the Gales bring into every match. They don't care if a team's undefeated or what conference they're coming out of and what they're the champions of. They're going to go out there and compete for 80 minutes at every match.
Mike, we know how good this Danbury Hatters team is as well. They're a high-powered offense. Ricardo Rodriguez, just one to name how good, he's so good in that center midfielder for the Danbury Hatters. What does Shelton have to do defensively to stop a guy like Ricardo Rodriguez? We know how good he is. And, David Mullen-Thiel was excellent in the quarterfinals against Trumbull. You know how they won 4-2. What does Shelton got to do to get past not only Mullen-Thiel but shut down Ricardo Rodriguez?
Well, they have a very good defensive back line led by some big guys in the middle. Ethan Schuster, their center back. They have a lot of size, and they're not going to get pushed around by any forwards. One thing about Danbury, they're not the biggest team out there on the pitch, and Shelton, almost at times look like a college team with some of the size they have on the back line. And their sophomore keeper, Isaac Garcia, he had going into that game against Greenwich, he had 3 straight shutouts in tournament play, starting with that game against Prep where they won the FCC tournament title, and also had shutouts in the first 2 rounds of the state tournament. So, this is a team that is not accustomed to giving up goals. To give up 2 there to Greenwich was kind of something that wasn't really that they hadn't been doing all year. But facing a high-powered attack like the Hatters, I could see this game easily being a 4-3 game for sure.
You just mentioned Isaac Garcia, the sophomore goalie for Shelton. Talk about how important he's been all season long for the Shelton soccer team. And he's only, again, a sophomore. How incredible is that for him? Not only be a sophomore, we've seen a lot of sophomore goalies this season around the FCAC as well. Talk about his play and how important he is to the Shelton team.
I mean, he's like a cat back there in between the sticks. He can get a hand on almost any shot that gets on target. That's if they could get past the defense. And another guy for Shelton, you know, in front of Garcia, that I forgot to mention before, is Khalid Dawkins. He's a real libero out there. He's a guy who will play on the back line, but he's not afraid to get forward. But, you know, when they get those balls past him, Garcia's been there. He wasn't a starter at the beginning of the season, but he's made a name for himself here late in the season. And a player who improves every time he gets out there on the pitch, it seems like. Gets a little more confidence every game.
Now, Mike, you talked a little bit about Fairfield Prep, who's at the top of the bracket. 3 of the 4 teams remaining are seeded higher than that 4th seed. Only one team from the top 4 advanced to the semis. That is Farmington. What can you tell us about Prep, and what kind of a final do we expect to see? Do the Jesuits have a chance to knock off Farmington, do you think?
Well, you write these CCC teams off at your own peril. I mean, that's an incredibly strong conference. I saw another one of the CCC's top teams, along with Farmington, E.O. Smith, really dismantled Massac in a quarterfinal matchup on Saturday. I mean, that's a very strong college soccer conference that sends a lot of players on to college. And, you know, down here we might not see those teams as much, but, you know, Farmington's going to come to play. And I've seen Prep play. They're a strong team. Their keeper, Dan Sabo, back there, he's, you know, one of the best sweeper keepers in the state. And again, I'm sure them and Shelton are licking their chops to try to set up a 4th matchup here. Prep won the first 2 games in the regular season. Shelton won the one that counted in the SEC final. And I'm sure that, you know, they'd love to face again. But again, they got 2 good teams standing in their way in Farmington and Danbury to set up that SEC dream final there for the SEC.
It would be an incredible match if that was the case, as they both ended up in the championship. If Shelton is going to make it to the championship game and knock off the Hatters, who is going to be the player that leads them the most in doing so?
I'm going to say it's Shirtino. He's the guy who comes up with the big goals when they need it. They have a plethora of kids who can score goals, though. They're not by no means a one-man wrecking crew. They have Nico Lobella, who scored the game-winning goal against Prep. They have a midfielder, Kyle Gill, who's a dead ball specialist who takes basically every free kick that, you know, he's got tons of assists this season. He can score a goal. And, I mean, but Shirtino is the guy. He's one of the best players in the state, and they're going to rely heavily on him here in the semifinal, from my perspective.
Mike, we know how important it is in this game to, you know, set the momentum early. You know, really get things going early in these games. How important is it for Shelton to come out early, get some chances, put momentum in their hands? And, you know, for Danbury, how important is it for them to, you know, put some momentum on their side and get some shots in early?
I think in this game, the first goal is going to be key because it's going to allow whichever team gets that first goal to play to their style and to their strengths. And, I mean, you know, sometimes in these state tournament games, you see the first goal and you think that is going to be indicative of the game, and it's really not, because these games tend to get a little crazy come tournament time. But I think whoever gets the first goal here, like I said, they'll be able to, you know, assert their will on the game, and that will be beneficial to both teams because neither one of these teams is going to want to be playing catch-up against a team that's capable of putting, you know, 3-4 goals on the board.
It should be a lot of fun. That game will be tonight, 6 o'clock at Fairfield Ludlow. Mike, while we've got you here, let's just take a look quickly at the Class LL football standings. You cover the Shelton Gales a little bit. They're sitting at 5th right now, 7-2. All expectations are they take care of Derby for another Thanksgiving matchup, and they'll find themselves in that tournament. But they could potentially get jumped by either Ridgefield or NFA and possibly have to face a Southington or a West Haven. Realistically, the Gales would like to sit in that 5 spot, though, and square off against Newtown.
Yeah, I mean, Newtown is a team they handled pretty, you know, not easily, but they weren't really there wasn't too much incident in that game last year. I know it's last year, it's a different season, but that's a team that they're familiar with. I think after what happened on Friday night, there's probably 0% chance Coach Jeff Roy wants to see West Haven High again after they put up 59 points, you know, at Finn Stadium, whereas this game would be at Strong Stadium in West Haven, so West would be the home team. But it's going to be, you don't want to put the cart before the horse, but they haven't lost the Derby in a long time. I don't envision it happening this year. But Shelton's definitely, they need to bounce back. I wouldn't want to be the Derby Red Raiders going into this Thanksgiving game after a Shelton team that hadn't lost a regular season game since 2013, riding a 2-game losing streak. They're going to be angry, and they're going to come in and try to, make a statement, I think, early. And again, trying to stay into that 5 spot is going to be really big. But like you said, they're not going to pull a lot of power points from Derby. They have a chance with some of the teams that they defeated during the regular season to maybe pull some power. I mean, that Southington-Cheshire game is going to have big implications on not only the Class AA picture, but also Shelton's tournament outlook.
It'll be really interesting, and I think having that extra week off now before Thanksgiving allows the Gales to get a little bit healthier, and they're able to rebound on Thanksgiving, and we'll be set up for what should be a very exciting first round across the board for all of the state tournaments when you take a look at them now. Mike, I want to thank you for coming on with us today. Enjoy the game tonight. Stay dry out there, brother.
I'll try. You guys hang in there, and I'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good, Mike. Of course, Mike Suppy, one of the sports editors here with the HAN Network. And he brings up a good point. I think that is a strong back line for Shelton, and if they can neutralize an early attack from the Hatters, Kevin, and find a way to pop one in first, and the Gales are really setting themselves up for success tonight.
Yeah, he hit it right on the nose. If you get that first goal, you really set the tone for yourself. And possession too. That's another thing that I wish we spoke to them about. And both these teams are so good center midfielders. They can spread the ball out wide. If they have to, they can play it back, and their back four is very composed enough to switch the field and play it upfield. So possession-wise, it's important to see what these teams can bring tonight. It's going to be a tough service. We know how it's raining out today. That's going to play a little bit of a role in it. If you're a keeper, be careful in the box of rolling, bouncing balls in the 18-yard box. It really is going to be a fantastic game. Again, you got to give so much credit. Those Hatters beating a very, very good Trumbull Eagle team 4-2. It really is a fun tournament, and we're going to see how these two games really shape out. Because you mentioned, Fairfield Prep, 16 going up against Farmington. Farmington is always a good team every year.
Should be a lot of fun. Again, those games scheduled for tonight, Shelton and Danbury, 6 o'clock at Fairfield Ludlow. Let's take a break here on Nutmeg Sports. When we get back, we'll look at the girls' side of the state tournament, as well as field hockey and volleyball, all coming up right here on the HAN Network.
1, 2, 3, Abby, I want to find out how good I am. Yes, sir! If you relax, you get blown out. Let's get it done! Let's get it done!
What can you take advantage of right now?
Again, come on. I can push myself way beyond what you think. Pressure technique. Bring it back.
Connecticut is coming back to hometown banking. To a partner that makes small businesses feel big. Where community comes first. Where high-tech tools go hand in hand with a human touch. Where you get the know-how only neighbors can deliver. Where saving time is important too. It's time to expect more. It's time to bank well. Bank smart. Bank local. Bank well.
Have a sports injury or a slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast, without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care, open Monday through Saturday, now in 2 locations. The iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk and 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien. Or go to coastalorthoexpress.com, like them on Facebook.
For unique and special holiday gifts, come to Touch of Sedona, a spiritual boutique located in the heart of Ridgefield, Connecticut. We have plenty of unique pieces, including Native American and equestrian jewelry, crystals, candles, incense, and books, as well as an ever-changing showcase of artists, intuitive practitioners, healers, and lots more. Happy holidays from Touch of Sedona, 452 Main Street in Ridgefield. Visit us today. Open 7 days a week.
As you're getting back to your regular schedules, we're excited to get back to doing what we do best. offering you the freshest seasonal fare and all the ingredients for a healthy start to school. So shop Walter Stewart's for everything fresh, from A, apples to Z, zucchini, and from cotton candy grapes to back to nature all-natural snack bags. We save you time by stocking all of your favorite back-to-school essentials under one roof. Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
Give your day a jumpstart with the latest news, sports, weather, and more on Coffee Break, live on the HAN Network, weekdays at 11 a.m. Connecticut news doesn't get any more local than on Coffee Break.
Welcome back to Nutmeg Sports here on the HAN Network. Frank Granito and Kevin Coleman in the studio today. Thank you again to Mike Suppy for coming on to talk a little bit about Shelton and Danbury. And again, we've got the other matchup, Kevin. That is going to be Farmington and Prep, 3 low seeds making it to the semifinals. We talked about it in some of the other sports, at least in the FCX this year, how open the tournaments were with the perennial powers, Darien, New Canaan's sort of down. We're seeing it in soccer this year. Glastonbury knocked off early. Naugatuck, that 1 seed eliminated by Fairfield Prep. It's been a very fun and exciting boys soccer tournament, and it's cool to see these higher seeds now, all with an opportunity to take home the title.
Listen, every coach in the FCX or around the state of Connecticut will tell you that this tournament's all about luck, and you can be the 1 seed, or you can be the 35th seed. It's really anyone's tournament to have, and that's why it's so cool to have Fairfield Prep, who's the 16 seed, going against the 4 seed. You're having Danbury, who's 11, going against Shelton, who's 7. Shelton beating Greenwich. I think if you really thought about it before the tournament, you would have expected to see, Greenwich Trumbull in that semifinal, but instead it's Shelton Danbury. That's what makes it so much fun. You're seeing these great teams being knocked off, and it's just great soccer. It just comes to show how much great talent there is in this state.
And you look at the girls' side of the tournament now, Kevin. You've got the 1, 2, and 3 seeds there. That's Glastonbury, Suffield, and Ridgefield. And I think we expected and we're really confident that those teams would be there. You go back to Saturday last week, Wilton knocks off the 4 seed Enfield in double overtime. West Hill takes care of Cheshire. And in the quarterfinals, you got a 12-13 matchup between 2 FCX teams. And it's killing me right now to say West Hill's season has come to an end. But again, the Wilton do or die, survive against the odds Warriors now. Out of a 2 OT game, come back and they win in PKs 4-2. But this is a whole different monster now they run into with Glastonbury, who's outscoring their opponents 13-2 in the 2 matches they've played this tournament. How do the Warriors hang with Glastonbury?
What benefits them right now is that they're playing hot. This is a team that's coming in, streaking, coming off. When you're a team coming off a PK win like that, so much confidence is in your hands. And they're going against a 1 seed, but at that point, they don't even have to think about going against a 1 seed. Just go into it, play the game that you've been playing. This is a West Hill team that is better than being a 12 seed, and they beat them in PKs. It's always tough playing PKs, but you got to give Wilton a lot of credit. They're playing a lot of confidence right now. So I give them a good chance in this game. It's going to be a dogfight, but Wilton again, do or die, like you said, Frank. They've been playing awesome in this tournament so far.
Glastonbury comes in 18-0, and they're scoring at a ridiculous rate, Kevin. Strategy-wise, what does the back line for Wilton have to do to keep pressure off the goalkeeper and minimize the onslaught that the Glastonbury attack will bring?
They can't come out flat. That's the name of the game right there. They can't play flat. They have to make sure that they secure the middle. They can't let the strikers go through, make deep runs. If draw them offside if you can. That's a good game plan. I like to run if you're coaching a back 4. Just don't play flat. That's plain and simple. We see so many teams coming out and creating chances that create that back 4 to kind of be susceptible a little bit and move up. And don't be flat. That's just the name of the game for the Wilton Warriors. They have to play smart. Don't force anything in the back. Don't play, anything wrong in the back. No force any errors back there in your lower 18. That's all they have to do really, and play smart.
Does a physical style of play maybe help the Warriors out? Do you try to not so much intimidate, but you really just apply that extra pressure and you force Glastonbury, if they're going to win the battle, that they've got to go through you versus allowing them to attack around and use that speed?
Yes, I mean, I like the physical play. I think that's something that you get the attention of the 1 seed. When you're a 13 seed, you come out right away fighting. And if you can, if you draw a couple penalties, that's all right. But at least show them that you are there to play and to win that day.
At the bottom of the bracket, it's a 2-3 matchup. You have got Suffield and Ridgefield. Suffield also undefeated this year. They were that team that had to be added in late because of the miscommunications amongst the CIAC. Ridgefield, the 3 seed, only 2 losses. The FCX champions, they're coming off 5-1 win over Hartford, 2-0 over Trumbull, 6-1 over South Windsor. The Tigers are hot. And let me start by asking this, Kevin. Is there a more underrated, or not underrated, but more underappreciated player in the state right now than Grace Franklin?
No. She really isn't. She's playing outstanding. Frank, her free kicks are world class. I'm lost of words. Just the way she puts the pace on the ball in there, it's just perfect. I mean, you can't draw it up any better. It's a coach's dream if you can have a player like that who can put free kicks in the box.
And it's incredible. And you talk about the importance of set pieces, and the Tigers will make you pay any opportunity they're given. But Grace Franklin, who led to the 1 goal in the FCX championship, had the huge goal that we got to see last Friday against Trumbull. But she's just almost, you don't want to say overshadowed, but kind of forgotten about because of the ability of Katie Jasminski and the numbers she puts up. Alex Damron, who sets up Jasminski so often from that wing position. Franklin is one of those center backs who's just quietly involved. The throw-ins, the free kicks, she's doing all the right things, but it goes unnoticed at times because of how tremendously talented this Tigers attack is.
Well, a lot of girls go unnoticed on this entire roster. If you think about it, there's a lot of depth on this Richfield girls soccer team. And Grace Franklin is more than happy to, be not forgotten about, but she's so good at, you mentioned the throw-ins, the free kicks are just world class. You can't draw it up any better than that. She does it all, and Richfield's very lucky that they have a very talented center back like Grace Franklin.
Suffield has gone about their business now for 3 games in this tournament. 6-0 win, 1-0 win, 4-0 win. They haven't surrendered a goal yet. How can the Tigers continue to score, continue to thrive offensively, and do they have a chance to knock off number 2 Suffield?
Definitely. They certainly do. And I'm still a little shocked at the onslaught that they put on against South Windsor. 6-1. I was very shocked they put up 6 goals. This is a good South Windsor team. And they, at home, I understand Tiger Hollow is a very tough place to play, and the Tigers use that to their advantage. But man, 6-1. I don't think a lot of people are expecting that. So certainly, Ridgefield definitely has a chance in this game. I think it's going to be a dogfight between these 2 teams. You talk about 2 and 3 seed. This is a perfect matchup. If you think about it for a semifinal, you can't ask for a better game. I really do. This is almost hard to draw up because this is a Suffield team who is a little mad that they weren't added into the tournament as a 2 seed. So they're using that probably as a little motivation to keep it going. And this is a Ridgefield team, like you said, who's playing outstanding soccer right now. So really, this is a must-watch game.
I would ask you who you're rooting for, but I think I have an idea in the back of my mind.
Come on, don't throw me under the bus like that.
Let's take one more break here, Kevin. When we come back, we're going to have field hockey, volleyball. Of course, field hockey games will be played this afternoon, so we'll take a look at those. All of that right now on the HAN Network.
At Hoyt Livery, our goal is to always... Tim, what are you doing? We're filming a commercial.
I'm checking out the new Hoyt on the Go app.
Hoyt's here!
This is now 44 years I've been in this business. Digital came along. After I was in business for about 6 years, I had to totally reinvent the business. So I had to make a tremendous investment in my business. And Milford Bank was there for me. I don't really just consider Milford Bank a bank. I consider them a trusted partner in my business. My name is Jim Wilson, owner of Milford Photo. I choose to bank with Milford Bank.
In Sports Trumbull, the game is always on inside. Recently renovated and home to one of Connecticut's largest indoor turf fields, In Sports is a multi-sport recreation center providing state-of-the-art facilities for league play, camps, and youth programs. Sign up now for In Sports passing and receiving positional November soccer clinic, scheduled for November 19th. Sessions are available for U13 to U14, U15 to U16, and U17 to U19. Featuring college coaches from around the region, this is your official home of Connecticut's Olympic Development Soccer Program. For more information, visit insportcenters.com.
Hi, this is Leo Carl from Carl Chevrolet in New Canaan, and you've heard me talk about the Chevy Volt for years. The new model gets 53 miles on EV charge daily, plus 420-mile full range. But don't take my word for it. You need to come in and test drive the Volt yourself. Visit us at 261 Elm Street in New Canaan or online at carldirect.com.
If you're watching this broadcast, you're not alone. The HAN Network is available for 200,000 Connecticut cable customers on the Frontier Network. And we've also reached 1.7 million viewers on our free live streaming sports, news, and entertainment broadcasts. To reach our rapidly growing audience, contact Advertising Director Jessica Murrin at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
Welcome back to Nutmeg Sports here on the HAN Network. Frank Granito, Kevin Coleman in the studio. Kevin, let's look at field hockey now. They've got games this afternoon. For Class L, it's going to be number 2 Enfield, number 3 Staples. Staples coming off that big win against Wilton in the rematch of the FCX Championship. The Wreckers have only that one loss on the season. It should be a great game. Enfield playing so well, though. Do you think the Wreckers have a little bit of an edge here?
I'm going to give it to them. Yeah, I'm going to give it a little bit of an edge to the Staples Wreckers. They, like you mentioned, beating Wilton. Wilton, we know how good they are. Such a good field hockey program. I'm going to give the edge to the Wreckers.
On the other side of the bracket, number 4 Darien, number 1 Glastonbury. Just so consistent as Glastonbury throughout these tournaments, but the Blue Wave equally as tremendous right now, playing so well. They are still very upset about that semifinal loss to Staples in the FCX. What a great championship that could be if both these FCX teams advance. How much of an advantage is the experience factor from Darien here? Because obviously for field hockey, there are several state title banners hanging in those rafters.
And we know how good a program, the athletic program is at Darien High School. I think a lot of people around here would like to see that, an all FCX state final. And I think you and I both can agree that we'd like to see that. But Glastonbury, you can't sleep on them. This is a good field hockey team.
Both those games will be played at Watertown High School this afternoon. For Class M, you've got a couple of high seeds left in the tournament again. The first game tonight is going to be number 7 New Canaan at number 3 Branford. And that number 7 ranking for New Canaan's a little deceptive because you think about the losses they suffered this year, and a lot of those are against the Class L schools from the FCX. They're the defending state champion. They rarely struggle in this state tournament, but now having to go through it as a higher seed, what do the Rams have to do to continue rolling here against number 3 Branford?
Use their experience. You mentioned the state titles. Use that as the experience factor. They've been here before. They know what to do. But again, don't sleep on Branford. This is a good field hockey team. They're going to come in wanting to beat the Rams, so this is going to be a tight game.
Number 8 Laurelton Hall and number 4 Guilford is the other semifinal in that tournament. Finally, for volleyball, you've got Stanford and Amity, a 2-3 matchup in the semis. Amity is the 2 seed, but I think Stanford survived their one scare against Staples. That was that little bit of an FCX championship hangover. They're ready to roll now. I truly believe the Black Knights will end up in this championship game. Andrew O'Connor's too strong. If they make it there, we're looking at an all-FCX championship because the other semifinal is Ridgefield and Greenwich. The 1 and 2 teams in that conference tournament knocked off in the semis. They're playing with a chip on their shoulder. We thought this would be the FCX championship matchup, and what a great semifinal we get now in the state tournament, Kevin.
This is an FCX dream. We hope that it's going to be, obviously one FCX team is going to make it to the final no matter what. But we'd like to see it obviously be Stanford against the winner of Ridgefield-Greenwich. And, you talk about this Ridgefield-Greenwich game. This is going to be a very strong game between two great teams. Greenwich has had a great year. Ridgefield's had a great year. But we talk about the Stanford Black Knight team, who we've gotten a chance to watch. Andrea O'Connor, she is just fantastic. And Lisa Ballas, there's just so many. Each player has a role, and they all step up to it, which is really cool to see.
Of course, Claire Middlebrooks is one of the Athlete of the Week nominees for the Ridgefield Tigers, but it's Caroline Colonel is my player to watch in that match, the big left-hander playing on the wing. I think she can prove to be a difference maker there against Greenwich. I think Ridgefield has got enough to pull away in that one. A Ridgefield-Stanford championship game is the way I'm leaning right now.
I agree with you, and actually I think both semifinals are going to go to 5 sets. This is how close each game is going to be. I don't think we're going to see a game go to 3 straight sets. I think it's going to go to 5. And yeah, I agree with you. I'm going to go with that. Ridgefield against Stanford, that's going to be an excellent volleyball state championship game.
We accidentally left out the St. Joe's girls soccer team, Kevin. They did win their quarterfinal match with a full roster again, 4-0. So they are playing very well. They'll get number 7, Daniel Hand, in the semifinals. But we will talk more about that on tomorrow's show and preview the girls soccer games. Girls soccer and volleyball to be played tomorrow afternoon. Field hockey and boys soccer going at it this afternoon. We got to get out of here. We got some extra filming to do right now. Should be a lot of fun.
Well, Chalk Talk.
Here we go. For Kevin Coleman, I'm Frank Granito. Thanks for tuning in. We're back here tomorrow at 2. You got Coffee Break with Kate Chaplinsky at 11 and Kate and Josh on CT Pulse at 12:30. All that right here on the HAN Network.